Well, hello, everybody. A very warm welcome back to Sportsbet TV after a 2-week break. Paul Alster here with you. I'm very pleased to be back here in my home studio and talking to you about the racing that's coming up this Saturday, the 28th of May. I've got to say, for a Saturday, it's not the most brilliant action. Haydock stage a good card. The rest, pretty much of a muchness, really. Beverley, not too bad. And I actually have two recommendations for you. One will be at Beverley, the two are at Haydock. So 3 in all for this Saturday. And of course, we're on the countdown towards next weekend's Derby and Oaks. It's going to be great racing at Epsom. So I've already been giving quite a lot of thought to the classic races. And you'll have my thoughts this time next week, if not before. And then, of course, after that, we're into Royal Ascot. So we'll have 5 daily bulletins. And then, of course, we're into the midsummer run with the Eclipse, the big glorious meeting, the July meeting, the Ebor, so on and so forth. So a whole lot of great racing to come. And just to be sure you don't miss it, if you haven't already done so, press the subscribe button so you can keep in touch with this channel. All my recommendations are free to air, and you can consider them and decide to either go along with me or go with your own choices and suggestions. Well, let me move on to this week. 3 for you, as I say, 2 Haydock, 1 Beverley. First to Haydock, where the going is expected to be good. I think there's a bit of good to soft in it. When I last looked, just this Friday lunchtime, the time of this recording, but I see the weather forecast is dry and breezy and a bit of sunshine as well. So that will hopefully take a bit of juice out of the ground, because my horses chosen at Haydock are proper good ground horses. The first race I'm looking at is the 220, a 1.5 mile handicap for horses rated up to 105. So they're pretty useful handicappers here. And there are 13 of them. And amongst them is the recent Newmarket winner, Contact, as trained by David Barron and his daughter Nicola. It's gone up £5 for that Newmarket win, but it did it well. So should be a player, along with Kevin Ryan's Forza Orta, who won at Hamilton earlier in the month and was only beaten a length in a decent handicap at the Dante meeting just a week or two back, gone up £3 altogether. Now, there's absolutely no doubt that William Haggas's horses are in terrific form, and he really is a genuine contender for the Trainers' Championship this season. It's looking really interesting, and his strike rate is absolutely phenomenal, Haggas, at the moment. Now, he has an unexposed horse called Maharajan, who's making its debut as a 4-year-old. It could easily be a threat to all of these. It won 3 last term. I think the market will tell the story, although to be fair, the markets are already wise to William Haggas, and you don't see too many of his going off at a price anymore. But do keep an eye on Maharajan. And then Eve Johnson Horton has got a couple in this. HMS President is my slightly preferred of the two, preferred to its stable companion Scarlet Dragon, who's a regular in these types of races. But those of you that joined me when I did my YouTube live session before Cheltenham will remember that when I look at these type of races, I tend to start from the bottom upwards, from the horses that are the bigger starts, until I get to one that appears to me to have a chance. And the one that jumped out at me here is called Universal Order. And it's trained by David Simcock and is the mount of Daniel Muscat. It's quite an interesting horse, this. It's won 6 of 13, so not far off a 50% winning strike record. It's also been placed 3 times, including in good company. It won 3 times as a 3-year-old and twice as a 4-year-old. It's now 6. And its wins have included the listed 1.5 mile Fred Archer Stakes at Newmarket, after which it went on to finish 3rd in a Group 3 at York. Now, it clearly had an issue last season. It didn't run. It missed all of have 5-year-old career. And it returned after a 602-day break. So it was by no means surprising that he would have needed that outing just to get the wins back in his sails and clear the pipes. Well, he returned at Ascot 3 weeks ago in what was a very hot listed race. And the horse who won it was Al Arsi, who's a very good horse. He's rated 117, a Group 1 rating. Now, Universal Order did run as though he needed the outing, but he wasn't disgraced. And I note that the 3rd horse home that day has since come out and won the listed Tapster Stakes at Goodwood by 6 lengths. That was third realm. So the form is already beginning to stack up very well for that race at Ascot. Excuse me. Now then, there's absolutely no doubt at all that Universal Order should be a lot fitter for that run. And I did note that Timeform noted that he looked a bit burly in the parade ring and would come on for the run. Well, let's hope he has come on for the run, because if he has, then he has a proper chance in this race. This is a much easier task. He's back in a regular handicap for the first time in over 2.5 years. He's running listed handicaps, but this is a regular handicap. He's also been dropped £3 since that run at Ascot 3 weeks ago. So all in all, you put those pieces together, and to me, it suggests that we could see a much better performance from Universal Order. I believe that owners won't keep horses in training when they've suffered an issue, or what's probably quite a serious issue, if the trainer doesn't tell them that there's still enough ability to win a race. So working on that theory, I suggest that the 14 to 1 each way, offered for 4 places at the time of this recording with Paddy Power and Betfair, and Betfred and Boyle Sports and Sporting Index, amongst others. I think that's a good sporting each way punt in the 220 at Haydock, and Universal Order is the first of my 3 for this Saturday. Then I'm going to take you across to Beverley. It's one of their big days of the year at Beverley, the other day being in September when they run the Bullet. But the 3:15 race at Beverley is the 2-year-old trophy over 5 furlongs. Now, if you don't know Beverley, it is a very stiff track. It's uphill all the way from start to finish on the 5 furlong track. So really, you need a horse that's going to stay really 6 furlongs, because they do stop on the hill, and anything with stamina can come and grab them. So bearing that in mind, let's just look at this race, which has been a good trial for Royal Ascot races such as the Norfolk Stakes and the Windsor Castle over the last 10 or 20 years. It's been won by the likes of Prince of Lear and Bungle in the Jungle, who've both gone on to be sprint sires. So it is a decent race, this. Now, the clear favourite this Friday morning and lunchtime is Eve Johnson Horton's Whistle and Flute, who won on its debut at Bath and then was a good second to a promising horse, Bakil, at Ascot in a conditions race last time. About 2 to 1, 9 to 4 shot. Shouldn't be far away, but I don't think there's a huge amount of value there with so many unexposed horses in opposition. Rogue Spirit is one of them, trained by Tom Clover. Only the one run, and that was a win at Beverley over this course and distance. So we know it's got the stamina for this trip. And the form has been franked twice, with both the second horse and the fourth horse coming out to win since then. So that's Rogue Spirit. Andrew Balding's Chateau didn't have any luck in running, even though it was only a 5-runner event at Salisbury on debut. He finished third. A 90,000 guineas colt by Havana Gold, who should have learned plenty from that. Then you've got John Quinn's JM Jungle. Now, John won this very race 12 months ago with Tipperary Sunset. And interesting that he goes again with this JM Jungle, who showed a very good attitude, I thought, to win at Hamilton last time out. And then there's the Riddler, who I did give quite some consideration to. He's trained by Richard Fahey, who won this race with the subsequent 109 rated Summer Sands 2 years ago in 2020. And the Riddler was well backed when he won at Ripon last time out on his second start, and he'll know plenty about the game. But again, I'm trying to think out of the box as I do, because if you're new to the service, I'm only really interested in horses at each way prices, and preferably really tasty each way prices. And while we're going to have periods where they don't click and we don't have winners, as those of you that follow the service on a regular basis know, even this very month, we've had some terrific touches. And you've just got to look for horses that are maybe a little less obvious. And one of them is in this race, and it's called Corporate Raider. And it's trained by Robert Cowell, who is an excellent trainer of sprinters. And there's the mount of the very talented Danny Tudhope. Now, Robert Cowell tends to target this Beverley meeting with his good 2-year-old colts and fillies as a stepping stone towards hopefully running them at Ascot. He's also won the Hillary Needler, I think, which is earlier on the card, a race in which my own filly was beaten in a photo finish a long time ago. Anyway, Robert actually won this race with Prince of Lear. That was in 2016, and that one went on to win the Group 2 Norfolk Stakes next time out. So interesting that he's running Corporate Raider here and following a tried and tested route. Now, Corporate Raider is the most expensive purchase in the field at 120,000 guineas. That's a lot of money. He was bought as a yearling. He's by Profitable, an excellent sire of sprinters. The Dam was a listed winner. The half-brother Fox Power, you'll know, a good listed sprinter. And there's also been other good juvenile winning sprinters. So the pedigree is there. And this horse actually only made his debut last Saturday. That was at Catterick, a very sharp 5 furlongs. He was a little slowly into his stride, was towards the rear, pushed along 2 furlongs out. Hands and heels started to stay on at the furlong pole, then really got the message inside the distance and was running on strongly at the finish. Indeed, the Racing Post, in running comments, noted him as an eye-catcher, and I quote them on that one. He will know a great deal more, even though it's only 7 or 8 days since his debut. Now, the stiffer track I think he's going to suit, because he already looks as if he needs a stiff 5 or even 6 furlongs now, which of course is a similar story at Ascot if he were to do well here. Ascot also uphill all the way on the 5 furlong course at Ascot, rather like Beverley. So he'll know more. He's going to enjoy this stiffer track, given the way he finished so strongly at Catterick, just as he began to understand what it was all about. He's bred to be useful. He's trained by a trainer who loves to target this race. And I think he looks overpriced potentially. Okay, he was only 4th on debut at Catterick, but the fact they turn him around again quickly is interesting. And the 20-1 is on offer with a number of firms. You can bet it each way. And the 4 places, keep an eye on that, the 4 places available with Sky Bet at the time of this recording. So 20-1 each way. Corporate Raider in the 2-year-old trophy race at Beverley, 3:15 Saturday. And then just as the hosing goes down after the race on the Westwood at Beverley, we'll be moving back across the Pennines, the other side of the M62 to Haydock for the 3:30, which is the 7 furlong John of Gaunt Stakes. It's Group 3. It's on anticipated good ground. Of course, this is a race that has a royal connection. Of course, everything's royal at the moment, isn't it, with the Platinum Jubilee coming up next weekend. John of Gaunt, who was a son of Edward III and was the father of Henry IV. He was also the Duke of Lancaster, which is why they run the race here at Haydock after him. Well, let's leave the history lesson aside and look at the horses coming up on Saturday for the John of Gaunt. They include last year's winner, the Rafe Beckett-trained Kinross, who's a classy horse. He won it on good to soft ground last year, and looking through his profile, most of his really good form is when there is some soft in the description, and I'm expecting that won't be the case at Haydock on Saturday. He also hasn't run for 224 days, so maybe that combination might catch him out, but he does have the highest official rating at 114, and he won't be a pushover. Now, the other major market contender here is the Gosden's Sunray Major, who wasn't at all disgraced, behind the mighty Ba'id in the Group 1 Locking Stakes at Newbury the other week. Now he's significantly down in class from that red-hot Group 1 to this Group 3, and he could very easily prove to be a danger to all. Happy Power, well, he represents Andrew Balding, who's always to be feared. He's a terrific trainer. He won the 3-runner listed King Richard III Stakes, so we're back to the historic connection here. That was at Leicester, of course, where, of course, they found Richard III's body under a car park not that many years ago. Anyway, back to the racing. Spycatcher for Carl Burke, who's really hit a hot streak recently. Carl Burke, his horses are in great form. This one was a good second to Highfield Princess in the Group 2 Duke of York Stakes, Grand Old Duke of York. That was recently on the Knavesmire, but he hasn't won at 7 furlongs, and that's the one thing that has made me sidestep Spycatcher. And then an old favourite of mine goes in this race as well, Pogo, trained by Charles Hills. He's very capable of going close on his day. Indeed, he was a very good second to the smart Ben Battle in September in the Group 2 Joel Stakes. at Newmarket. But my choice here, and possibly the best bet of my trio on Saturday, is Lanarkash, who is trained by Roger Varian and the mount of Jim Crowley. Now, I think this is quite an exciting horse, Lanarkash, and I'll tell you for why. He's a 4-year-old, still unexposed, has only had 6 runs, so he's open to improvement. He's won one of those 6 runs. He's by Cable Bay, who many of you will remember being a good horse at this trip. Indeed, he won this very race in 2015. Now, this Lanarkash won on his debut at Ascot in August of 2020, and then he was beaten just ahead in the listed Flying Scotsman Stakes at Doncaster soon after that. He was then sent off favourite for the Group 3 Horace Hill Stakes at Newbury in October of 2020, but it was heavy ground and he hated it. He just couldn't raise a gallop, so you ignore that. Now then, last term he had 3 runs as well, and his best run was first time out. That was when second, beaten just a length by the smart filly Sacred in the Group 2 Hungerford Stakes. And that was after a 10-month absence, so we know he goes well fresh. He went on to be third in a Group 2 at Doncaster after that, and then he was fourth in the race behind Ben Battle at Newmarket, but that was over a mile, and I don't think that is his ideal trip. He got tired inside the final furlong, and I think that this 7 furlongs is the optimum trip for him. Now, I do feel this could be his breakthrough season for a number of reasons. As I've mentioned, he's unexposed. He's with a top trainer. He's also been gelded during the winter, so he'll probably be a little more focused on the job in hand. Also here, it's his first run of the season, and he won first time out as a 2-year-old. He only got beaten a length in a Group 2 as a 3-year-old first time out. So the absence is actually a positive, I believe, in his case. I also feel he's a 7 furlong specialist, and the drying ground should suit him. He's from a yard in form, and he's actually the 2nd highest rated in the field, with only £2 to find on official figures with the anticipated favourite Kinross. So it all adds up to me to a very big run, granted luck in running, of course, for Lanarkash. And 8 to 1 is available each way. Again, Sky Bet are best here with 4 places. Bet Victor and Parry Match also go 3 places. But significantly for me, looking at the odds comparison side, a number of firms seem to be a little wary of the horse, including Bet365, who only go 11 to 2, but you can still get 8 to 1 for 4 places with Sky Bet at the time of this recording, and that's my recommendation. So it's Lanarkash for me, the last of my 3 on Saturday, and I'll be having a bit of an each-way patent on those 3. Let's hope you can get your money on. We've had a little bit of an issue a time or two of late. Whatever happens with these 3, May is going to be a very profitable month because of that fabulous double we had, and of course that huge place treble as well earlier in the month. So we're going to be nicely in profit. I'm going to be back the same time next week to look at the greatest race for 3-year-old colts in the world, the Derby at Epsom. And I hope you'll be joining me to hear my thoughts on that. I've got some quite strong opinions, actually, on who I think will and won't run well. But for now, from me, Paul Alster, here at Sportsbet, thanks very much for joining me. I'll see you same time next week. Bye-bye.